Welcome back. I'm Casey Kasem. Not really. This is Bob Pizzini coming to you from AM 790 WNIS.
Well, it is October, a little spooky.
So that actually brings up another point in leadership is you can't be a stiff shirt all the time. Actually, you shouldn't be a stiff shirt ever. And in the Elevate Your Leadership experience, I'll probably wear a button-down shirt for the live events, but it's not a stiff shirt. And the more relaxed you can be as a leader, have some fun with the people in your organization. Everybody's a human being at the end of the day, and we have to recognize that. We all have good days. We all have days that aren't so good. We all have our lives outside of work, and good leaders should recognize that. And I think if you bring humor and levity to those you lead on a reoccurring basis, they appreciate it, and it helps build a bond, and it helps builds trust. So that's not a critical trait. Maybe I should add that. Bring humor to your organization, but that's kind of fun. Okay, I am going to talk about the last critical trait, but before I do that, once again, I just want to say if you lead anybody in any capacity, then this Elevate Your Leadership show and the webinar is for you. If you want to be better, if you want to lead with greater clarity, greater energy, then this show is for you. And if you want to be a better leader over a longer term, this show is for you. All right, critical traits. I talked about 9 critical traits real quick. I talked about being a student. I talked about being flexible and adaptable. I discussed Daniel Pink's theory of peak trough recovery. We talked about metacognition. We talked about the 5 Why Challenge. We talked about servant leadership. We talked about leading outside of work. We talked about investing in your team. And the last trait I'm going to talk about is recognizing leadership opportunities. So leadership opportunities occur all the time if you recognize them. And I'll just give you a couple examples real quick. And once again, in Elevate Your Leadership, we dive deep on this, and we give you tools that are in your conscious mind that you can use every day that is going to make you a confident and competent leader. Not only are you going to feel great about it, but the people that you lead are going to see it, they're going to recognize it, and they're going to have greater confidence in your competence. It's a couple of big C words there. But okay, recognizing leadership opportunities. What do I mean by that? Oftentimes people will come to you and they will say, I've got this situation. What should I do about it? And, you being the seasoned, experienced person, you say, oh, well, you just do this or just do that. But a leader who recognizes a leadership opportunity here will ask that person, well, what do you think we should do about that? And let that person talk for as long as they want to talk. And if they say, I don't know, ask them again. Well, think about it. What should we do about it? And, you hear all the time people say, hey, if you bring me a problem, bring me a solution. That's really not where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is recognize the leadership opportunity to allow that person to come up with the answer and maybe implement the answer. Empower that person. Give that person the ownership over whatever the situation is. And what that'll do a couple of things. One, it gets them to think to probably come up with the best solution. But 2, it does give them that sense of ownership within the organization. And it gives them the feeling or the sense or the thought that, hey, the boss trusts me, or my manager, my leader trusts me to solve this problem. And it's empowering. And again, it's good for the culture within an organization. So recognizing leadership opportunities is critical. So those are my 10 critical traits. If you have critical traits of leadership, I'd love to hear them. Once again, live show, you can call in 627-7979, and we've got about 4 minutes left. So if you have something to share with the greater Hampton Roads audience, go ahead and give us a call. I will talk briefly about my next leadership webinar, which is going to be 15 through 18 November, and that's 10 a.m. to noon each day. If you are an owner or an executive, if you are a director or a mid-level manager, if you are an operations leader, if you are in the human resources department, if you are a supervisor, if you are a manager, if you are a high-potential team member, if you have high-potential team members, if you're anyone seeking promotion or a new position, or if you're seeking professional and or personal growth, this leadership adventure is for you. And I call it an adventure because it's high energy. It is different than anything you've experienced at some of these other leadership academies, and I've been to a lot of them, and they bring tremendous value, but they don't bring the energy and they don't bring the the issues that we face on a regular basis, at least that I faced anyway, which is why I felt the need to elevate your leadership. We attended these different training events, my team members and I, my management team. We've been to the Franklin Covey and the Dale Carnegie, and those are good, and we benefited from that. But I just thought there was more, which is why I developed the Elevate Your Leadership experience. Now, I have John Maxwell certification. I don't use the John Maxwell curriculum. I use the Bob Pizzini curriculum. Although I will say there are some elements of the Maxwell teaching that are of tremendous value. You know, he talks about 3 levels of listening. For example, level 1 is listen long enough for you to stop talking so I can say what I want to say. Non-productive. Level 1 listening, non-productive. Level 2 listening, empathetic listening. And empathy is a big word in the workplace today, but there's a reason for it. It has meaning. It's real. It can bring results. So being an empathetic listener, quite simply, is being with the person as they speak. It's letting that person speak as long as they want to, and it's really hearing what it is they're saying. And then level 3 is empathetic listening and with observation of body language. Does the body language match the words that are coming out of the person's mouth? So anyway, that's just one example of some of the Maxwell teachings that I find valuable. But Elevate Your Leadership was developed based off of my 26 years in the military and my 11 years in the private sector. And it's lessons that I've learned, and I've learned those lessons through success and through failure. And I think anybody who captures those lessons, whether it was a lesson through success or a lesson through failure, capture that and carry it with you. Keep it in your conscious mind and share that when appropriate, when it's time to help develop others. Okay, we got about a minute left. We probably don't even have time for another phone call, but I do want to remind everybody one more time of our next in-house event at iFly Virginia Beach. That's December 1st. And our next webinar, which is going to be 15 through 18 November from 10 a.m. to noon. Visit robertpizzini.com. That's Robert, Pizzini.com to learn all things about elevating your leadership. All right, folks, we are getting ready to sign off, and tune in next month. I will be doing the Elevate Your Leadership show the first Thursday of every month for the rest of this year, and hopefully, if things go well, we'll do it for the rest of next year. Come see us at iFly Virginia Beach. We bring people together through the dream of flight, and we are out.